And we are live. We are live, people. Welcome back to the channel. It is Chosen Wisdom Football, a channel for the football purist, for the critical thinkers. And we have a lot to get through today, as well as our post match analysis, the tactical view, and what we learnt watching Manchester United West Ham. We are going to go through some of the things that we saw in the game yesterday, some of the improvements that we clearly saw yesterday from a tactical standpoint. We are going to go through all of those things with you guys today, so stay tuned. But before we go through the tactical analysis, the post-match debrief, people, we have transfer news to get through. There is breaking news today regarding Sesko, people, and we also have breaking news with regards to breaking news with regards to Anthony. So my mind just went blank just there, people. So today we have transfer news. Sesko, are we in for Benjamin Sesko, or are we in for Ollie Watkins? We're going to talk about that today. And also Saudi. Are Saudi really serious about Anthony, people? And of course, we are going to go through the match today, what we learnt watching Manchester United versus West Ham from a tactical standpoint. So as usual, people, on entry, please just ever so kindly smash the like, turn on your notifications if you can, and subscribe below to this brand new exciting channel, people. I hope everybody is having a good Sunday. Everyone, all the Manchester United fans are waxing lyrical about our performance yesterday. I think that there has been an improvement in our performance from the Leeds game, but I wouldn't say we were amazing. I think some YouTubers have got a bit overexcited, saying that we played amazing, saying that we were great, and all of these things. Well, so while there was an improvement, yes, I admit there has been an improvement from the Leeds game. However, it's just an improvement, and we have a long way to go. But before we get into the performance, people, let's take a look at the Benjamin Sesko news. Bear with me, people. So, as you can see, there you go. There you go, guys. Okay, so we got there in the end. So this is breaking news today, people. Manchester United are still discussing Benjamin Sesko internally. His situation will be one to watch in the next 7 to 10 days. And that is coming from Fabrizio Romano. Now, one thing I will say about the Benjamin Sesko situation is this. I know that internally, Manchester United are discussing whether they want to go for Ollie Watkins or Benjamin Sesko. That is clear that internally they're still trying to figure that out. And 7 to 10 days, that's very, very quick, guys. That's not a lot of time. So Fabrizio Romano is basically saying that this situation will become clear very, very shortly. There's another tweet today, later than that tweet. So this tweet was in the morning. Now this tweet, as that you guys can see on screen, was this afternoon. And it says, just in, Manchester United and Newcastle United have registered their interest in Benjamin Sesko. So this is real, guys. We've gone from this could be a potential player. We're looking at him. We still could go for Ollie Watkins. We've gone from that position to now we have officially registered and interest in Benjamin Sesko. No negotiations with both clubs yet. So that is also something very important. However, this, guys, this is the important part. Benjamin Sesko would rather move to Manchester United than Newcastle. Boom, boom, bam, bip, bam, bop. Amazing, amazing news. If this is true, and there's no reason for me to think this is not true, could Newcastle once again be going in for a player that they can't get, that they won't get? Potentially. Now, if Man United can get Benjamin Sesko to say yes and push for a move, and get Ollie Watkins to say yes and push for a move, I think we will be in a very, very great situation, an amazing position where we have two strikers that we want. And to be honest, we could go for either one of these strikers. Two strikers that we want, both want us, and are both pushing for a move. So in a week's time, we'll have the pick of either one of them. That's the perfect situation. Arsenal were in a similar situation where they had Gyökeres and they had Sesko, essentially both wanting Arsenal, and they could pick either one of them, and they decided to go for the cheaper option, which is Gyökeres. Let's pay attention to this, because I know internally there is two thought processes behind a striker. I believe there is Amorim and maybe a few others who are hell-bent on Prem proven, right? And I think Jim Ratcliffe and the owners, they want Prem proven as well. However, Ollie Watkins being 29 years old is a problem. I think that's not a problem more for Amorim, but it's more a problem for the owners in terms of longevity, the price, and the future value of the player, the sell-on value of the player. There is none really with Ollie Watkins. And I think there is Jim Ratcliffe, who doesn't really want to buy anyone over the age of 25. That's been clear. Our model, yes, we want Prem-proven players. I think that's clear. But it's also clear that we don't want old players. We don't want anyone really above the age of 25, 26. That seems to be the limit. So I believe there is sort of the owners, Jim Ratcliffe, who want value for money. Jim Ratcliffe probably prefers, in my opinion, Sesko, because Jim Ratcliffe and the owners blocked the Martinez deal. They didn't want Martinez, and they prefer Lemens because Lemens is younger. Lemens is cheaper. There is resale value for Lemens. So I believe the owners, Jim Ratcliffe, they would prefer Sesko. Younger, maybe you can get him for the same amount, because the price between Sesko and Ollie Watkins, £60 million. You might want to go for Sesko. Younger, 10 years maybe he'll give you. While Ollie Watkins, he's older. But we know the two differences between the two players are one's Prem proven, one has scored certain goals. He'll give you maybe a certain level of guarantee, which is what Man United are looking for. However, he's too old and the money touted is 60 M's. The other one won't necessarily give you that guarantee. He's not Prem proven, which is not what we're looking for. However, he's younger, he can grow, and there's longevity in that signing. So both have their pros, both have their cons, and I guess as the fan base, you guys will let me know which one you prefer. There is logic behind both of these scenarios. Logic behind both of these players. Some of you guys might want Mateta. It still doesn't seem like we're in for Mateta, unfortunately. And Watkins and Sesko are the two players that are the top of the list. And this news is very, very encouraging news, people. Very encouraging news. If you want a striker, it looks like we potentially will get a striker. And Sesko has now come out saying that he would prefer a move to Manchester United. What that makes Newcastle might be the laughingstock of the transfer window. There might be. Big up the chat. Big up British Bulldog in the chat. Watkins is wrong for the system. Amorim needs big striker like Hoyland, Mateta, etc. I think Ollie Watkins will be all right for the system, British Bulldog. I'm going to maybe disagree with you there. I think Watkins is what he wants. I mean, you say he's wrong for the system, but Watkins is who Amorim wants. Like I said, Amorim wants Watkins. It's clear that Amorim wants Watkins. He wants Watkins because it goes along with the Cunha and Boomer. These guys know he knows how to score. He runs the channels just like Hoyland did. He'll hold the ball up, bring others into play better than Hoyland. He is the striker that Amorim wants. But I think the club and Christopher Vivell, I don't think is. We need to remember Vivell has serious ties to Leipzig. Vivell and the recruitment guys, maybe with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, are pushing for Sesko. So we will see. We will see if we can get Ollie Watkins to start pushing for a move at, because we could be using this Sesko situation to decrease the Ollie Watkins fee. We could be using the Ollie Watkins situation to decrease the Sesko fee. And if the preference between the two is very, very thin, as in one's 51%, one's 49%, maybe the Manchester United hierarchy are saying, do you know what? We could get either one. Let's play these two players. Let's play these two clubs off each other, get a reduced fee, and then let's talk. So this is promising news for Manchester United fans who want a striker in. Yeah, that's definitely true. Watkins is his now number one choice out of all the remaining strikers that are left. He wants Premier League players. The manager's come out many times saying that he wants Premier League players. So this is confirmation from Fabrizio Romano again, doubling down on the situation. News in, people. So Fabrizio just confirmed that Manchester United are still in discussions over Benjamin Sesko as a potential striker signing, though no official bid has been made. And this is yesterday evening. However, people, this is interesting. Very, very interesting. Al Nassr, Cristiano Ronaldo and George Jesus' team is interested in signing Manchester United's Antony. This has moved very, very quickly. It went from yesterday, they could be interested, to now, apparently, and a bid has gone in for Antony. A bid has gone in for Antony. So let's read the rest of this tweet, people. The Saudi team signaled a purchase offer for the player, but has competition from European teams. United, see, that's very important. The fact that they've input or they put that there's competition for European teams kind of starts showing you that they're trying to pit people against each other. That's what they're trying to do here, as much as anything. United asked for about £50 million, which that's new because I know that we were only wanting £35 million before. So I think now that Saudi are interested, we have increased what we are asking for with regards to Antony. So United asked for about £50 million, which is about 60 million euros, which is a lot of money, a little more than, 58 million euros to negotiate for the Brazilian. The signing of João Felix by Al Nassr, however, may hinder the progress in signing of Antony. I don't necessarily think so. I do think, and I know the Saudi teams have a quota of how many foreign players they can register. And I don't know if Al Nassr have reached that quota yet, but they've clearly interested in Antony. The Riyadh club reached an agreement with Chelsea for the transfer of João Felix and will pay approximately 50 million euros between fixed and variable amounts for the striker. So this is coming in very, very recently, today around 5 o'clock. So that is basically the transfer news today. So quick updates, very, very important updates on Benjamin Sesko. Does it mean, I don't think, thing is, I still think Ollie Watkins might be Man United's preferred choice internally, even though I've just described what I believe differences in the views of Watkins and Sesko internally. I still believe that some people would prefer Sesko, while some people will prefer Watkins. But overall, as a club, I think Watkins just edges it over Sesko. If Watkins, the price can't be decreased for Watkins, then we will go in for Sesko. Sesko has come out saying he clearly wants Manchester United, which is a very good sign. And I expect us, after maybe Anthony, if this deal is true, because this Anthony situation, once again, could be Man United or Anthony's camp telling the European clubs, such as Betis, to hurry up because Al Nassr are interested. And if this is true and Anthony wants to go there, because apparently Anthony is open to going there, let's make this deal happen, get some money in for Anthony, and then use that money to purchase the striker. So things are moving. Very important updates this weekend, this Sunday, for those two players precisely. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Comment below. Sesko or Watkins? Big up British Bulldog, big up the chat. Anyway, that's the important stuff. Let's have a chat about what we saw yesterday. Let's have a chat about what we learnt yesterday. So, first and foremost, I want to start with, I think, the obvious things that we can all agree on, right? And I think we can all agree that yesterday, the improvements were aggression. We were more aggressive in our approach. And not only were we more aggressive, we had more intensity in our game. There was more intensity in our game. We weren't always the first to every ball, but the likes of Mainu and Ugarte, especially that midfield, they worked in tandem. They worked in pairs. So the intensity is one of the first things, the first positives about yesterday. The way that we pressed yesterday, we pressed with aggression, with speed, and once again, keyword, intensity. So based on how intense we played, we are ready for the Premier League. We played yesterday with the right amount of aggression that shows me that this team, maybe not tactically, maybe not in terms of football-wise, but purely based on aggression and intensity, we are ready for the Premier League, because we know the Premier League is an intense league. You have to be the first to the ball. You have to win your duels. You have to be aggressive. And this team yesterday against West Ham, they showed that. So that's the first thing. We can all agree that the level of intensity and aggression yesterday was spot on from the players. Now, as a team, one thing we did lack was cohesion. You can tell these players, even though most of them were the same players as last year, and only Cunha really is the only new player, you can tell that in a lot of ways, when we watched the game yesterday, the lack of cohesion was so clear. There were some players coming short when we wanted them to go long. Some players going long when we wanted them to go short. Some of the flicks and the little 1-2s and given goals didn't really work. Some of the passing accuracy from the team wasn't that great either. So there's a lot for us to improve. But let's have a quick chat about the first phase. One of the first things I noticed, guys, was De Ligt. I noticed that De Ligt, when we're trying to build up from the back, often will do this. He will move up next to Ugarte, perhaps. Mainly will move there. De Ligt will be here next to Ugarte. The two defenders, left centre back or right centre back, will stay split, and the full wing backs will move up. This is our first phase build up position. That was clear. We've seen this before, and I think we will continue to see this. Once this first phase has happened, what we typically see is the 3-1. What we typically see is this. Once we've completed the first phase, we then start playing like this. So this is final phase / middle phase build-up position. So going back, this is first phase, what we saw, Heaven, Euro splitting even wider, Dorgu up there, Dallo there, and Delete either joining Ugarte or joining Maney. That's what we saw in terms of the first phase build up, right? Amrim does like Delete moving from this position, joining the midfield too, and Heaven and Euro splitting. I've also seen the manager drop a midfielder, i.e. Bruno, into the back three and still push Delete up with. I've seen this also. This is what I've also seen in terms of first phase build up. But against West Ham, we got this in terms of first phase build up. I'm not quite sure how good Delete will be here. I'm not quite sure how this will work going into the season, but this seems to be the first phase build up position. Now, one of the positives that people are talking about yesterday is Ugarte and Menu. People are waxing lyrical at the moment about how these two in particular played yesterday. One thing for sure, people, is one of the reasons why Ugarte and Menu. Now, I will say they improved their performance yesterday. We as a team improved our performance from Leeds, but I'm not one of those YouTubers that will say that we were amazing yesterday, because we weren't amazing. We were just better than the game before, and we still have a lot to do. But one of the reasons why Ugarte and Menu kind of worked yesterday is the same reason why Ugarte and Casemiro worked for a few games under Ruud van Nistelrooy. Ugarte and Menu, they were always together. They were working like Rottweilers in pairs. Manu will be here, Ugarte with him. Manu will be over there trying to win the ball, Ugarte with him. Ugarte always gave Manu an option, a little 5-yard pass to the right. You know, a little 5-yard pass to the left. Like, Ugarte always gave Manu an options. And Manu is not somebody who's going to do a 40-yard pass down the channels, into the channels. That's not really Manu's game. Manu wants small, short passes. He wants the ball into feet. He wants intricate play. Ugarte is not really somebody who can deliver a 20-yard pass. Once again, Ugarte runs around, wins the ball, and ideally, Ugarte wants to give the ball to someone else who is a close distance from him. So it's important that these two midfielders work together in tandem. The difference is when you've got Bruno, let's put Bruno there. If you've got Bruno, let's say Bruno and Ugarte, right? This is what happens. Bruno will just wander around, leave his position, because we've been told, and the manager has said many times, Bruno leaves his position. So you get Bruno leaving his position, doing this, and you have Ugarte or Casemiro, whoever is playing here, isolated by himself, having to cover this whole midfield on his own. So whether it's Ugarte and Casemiro, this is what happens when Bruno plays there. Bruno wanders, leaves Ugarte on his own, or leaves Casemiro on his own. And it's difficult, guys. It's difficult to marshal this whole space by yourself. What we saw yesterday is these two hardly ever leaving each other's side. Yes, there were times when they did, but usually, most of the times, they were in the same vicinity as each other. That was a very underrated thing and a very important thing for us to understand. Bruno, as good as he was and as good as he is, if he plays here, he vacates the position, leaves Ugarte by himself. Ugarte can't do the 40-yard pass thing. He has to do short passes. He has to win the ball like Kante, give it short. Mainu is not going to do that either. So the fact that these two were together, hunting like wolves, very, very important. One thing I also noticed, in the first half, Cunha was quiet. He popped up on the right-hand side, popped up on the left-hand side. Him and Bruno changed positions a lot during the game. But in the first half, Cunha couldn't really get into the game. Bruno tried to get into the game, but even Bruno couldn't really get to the game. Dorgu was good. And I've said many times on this channel, Dorgu has only been here for since January. He hasn't been here a long time. He had half a season and he joined the most toxic team in the Premier League. Everyone now is waxing lyrical about Dorgu. Everybody, Dorgu's so amazing. Dorgu had a good game. But this has been Dorgu. I've said once a relationship forms down this left side, and for some reason, this left side, especially with Heaven joining the attack, Mainu, Dorgu, Cunha, the triangles in this left-hand side sometimes was really, really good. Really, really good. Really, really good. Dorgu, there were times where him and Cunha, and like I said, I always said that we will start seeing something different from Dorgu once he starts playing with better players. So many times, especially when Garnacho was here, he would give and go, give the ball to Cunha, make the run, to Garnacho and not get the ball back because Garnacho would just do his own thing. Cunha is finding Dorgu. Cunha is using his footballing brain, his really good IQ, and he's finding Dorgu. The relationship between Dorgu and Cunha will only get better, and this is what I said. Football is about relationships. The more Heaven plays here, the more he'll understand Dorgu's game. Dorgu will understand Cunha's game. And when these relationships start being formed, given goals, I know that this guy's going to make a run here. I know that this guy's going to make a run there. Then we will see a better team. Unfortunately, on this side, guys, on the right-hand side, we weren't as good. Euro was doing his thing. Euro was trying to push up. But on this right-hand side, we weren't as exciting. We weren't as direct. Not a lot happened on this right-hand side. And partially, I think, as you know, Bruno didn't have a bad game, but this is not Bruno's position. The way that Cunha, and we saw this, drops in this position here, guys, to receive the ball, turn, and then run here. Bruno can't do that. That's not Bruno's game. So you see Bruno drifting here, you see Bruno drifting there, but he's not going to turn, drop a shoulder, and run. Not the way that Cunha does. Cunha, what we saw from Cunha, especially more in the second half, the second 15 minutes before he was subbed, he was dropping here, turning with the ball and driving towards goal. And he did it very, very, very well, especially in the second half. Bruno, that's not his game. That's not his game. So the relationships on this right-hand side just weren't the same. And we didn't get, even though I think Ahmad had a decent game, we didn't get much from Ahmad until maybe the second half. To be honest, The second half, the first 15 minutes of the second half was probably the best football we played. The best football we played. So, Dorgu, good game. Hoyland, I think Hoyland was decent. What Hoyland was doing, because he did make some mistakes, but there was one time when he made a run on the left hand channel and he let a shot out, and he was so aggressive in his movement, quick in his movement, and he let the shot off very quickly, and that is what we want to see from Hoyland. But there was also a time where Bruno was in this position and Hoyland was here and Dorgu was here. And Bruno, for me, had to give the ball to Dorgu. And he made the wrong pass to Hoyland there. I think some of our decision making and some of our passing accuracy was not good enough in the first half. It simply wasn't good enough in the first half. So Hoyland had a decent game. Bruno, he scored 2 goals. He scored 2 goals yesterday, should I say. But he gave the ball away sloppily. There were times that Bruno was picking the ball up and he was doing little flicks that wasn't coming off. He was making the wrong passes often. There's also a time where Hoyland had the ball in this position. Bruno was to his left, absolutely free, right? And I think Cunha was here. And rather than just laying it off to Bruno, who'd have just had an easy shot, he decided to take the shot by himself. These are the kind of situations, and I think after that happened, the camera panned to the manager and the manager had his hand or his head in his hands. These are kind of situations where last year we saw it time and time again between Hoyland and Garnacho, where the decision making wasn't good enough. It just wasn't. Hoyland had to lay it off to Bruno, and that would have been an easy goal, but he didn't. So decision making is still an issue. We've only had 2 games of preseason. Decision making is still an issue. Cohesion, guys. The players are still finding out each other's game. They're still working out how quick Dorgu is. Can Dorgu pass? They're still trying to understand each other. But I think the intensity that we showed in the game was spot on. The aggression we showed in the game, spot on. The goalkeeper, West Ham's goalkeeper, gave us 2 goals. He gave us 2 goals. And that is why I want to be careful in our analysis of the game, people. I want to be careful because a lot of YouTubers are going to tell you that we were amazing, that this is excellent. A lot of people start saying these words. We weren't amazing. We weren't excellent. The 2 goals we scored, arguably 2 goalkeeping errors. A penalty, and I have no idea what the goalkeeper was doing for Bruno's second goal. 2 goalkeeping errors gave us 2 goals. And you can argue the reason why we had goalkeeper errors, the reason why the goalkeeper made those errors is because of our pressing. That's another thing I want to talk about, guys. Our pressing. We were pressing in unison. We were pressing together as a team. The ball would go out to the right-hand side. Hoyland, Bruno, Diallo pressing. If the ball moved over to the left, Dorgu, Cunha, Hoyland, everyone would move over, press. And also, we don't have Casemiro in that middle, and Ugarte is more mobile, so you could press more with Ugarte. We did this very, very well. Closing the game down, closing, the passing lanes down. Pressing very, very aggressively. And importantly, pressing in unison. It wasn't just one man pressing by himself. And often you have this Bruno running by himself and this pressing. No, there are clear instructions and there are clear pressing triggers. That's clear to me. And that's one thing I liked. We need aggression. We need aggression and we need intensity. If we can't get quality from these players, at least fight for every ball, run for every ball, tackle, leave a little elbow in. Do what the old Man United would do. Do what Scholes and Keane were doing. Just listen, Scholes and Keane and the old Man United weren't always tactically better than Arsenal. We weren't. Often we weren't better than Arsenal, but we were just fighting better. We fought better than Arsenal. We fought better than they did. And sometimes we won the match because we were just more aggressive. And this team is going to be more aggressive. I want to see, and in my match builder, in my system builder, I did say to you guys, and remember, I said I want to see Dillit, Lenny Euro, and Heaven. Some of you guys said no. And I said, the reason, I know they're young, Euro and Heaven, but they are athletic. They are quick. They are tall. They're going to press. If this was Martinez instead of Heaven, he could have been skinned. Heaven is not really getting skinned. I say that. I say Heaven's not getting skinned, but their goal, you can argue, came from Heaven maybe not showing Bowen down the outside enough. I think Heaven gave Bowen a bit too much space down the outside. But Bowen's goal was amazing. Let's not take anything away from Bowen's goal. But I think maybe Heaven should have showed Bowen, could have closed it down a bit more. Because Dillit was covering here. So you had Dillit here and you had Heaven here. And of course Bowen on Heaven's right-hand side. Heaven showed Bowen a bit too much space. He did. So I'm not saying it was Heaven's fault, but I have said that I want Heaven to start, but Heaven will make mistakes. He will lose concentration a little bit. He's young. So that's the risk I think we are going to take if we start someone like Heaven. But I like this back three. This back three, other than the goal that West Ham scored, absolutely sound. I love Lenny Euro. I love Lenny Euro. I love Lenny. When Lenny Euro is in this position, guys, in this position here, and he's spreading the crossfield and he's doing the crossfield passing. One thing I said that we're not going to get with Mainu and Ugarte, we're not going to get switch of play between these two. Mainu's not going to get the ball from here, from a deep position, and switch it all the way here to Diallo, should I say, Ahmad. He's not, and neither is Ugarte. Ugarte is not going to pick the ball here and switch a play to Dorgu. Not really. Not really. These are 5-yard passes, 10-yard passes. Lenny, many times I see Lenny picking the ball here in this position and sending the ball over to Dorgu. Dorgu making runs there off the back of Cunha. Keep an eye on Dorgu and Cunha's relationship, people. I keep saying, give Dorgu time with a better footballer. Let's see what he can do. Dorgu is a beast. He's athletic. And if anything, people, he provided more on the left-hand side than Ahmad did. I'm not saying he's a better player or anything like that, but that's also to do with Cunha playing with Dorgu. Once we get Mbeumo here, and the manager has come out, people, and said that Brian Mbeumo will not play in the next game. He might play in the final game, but he's not. Him and Zexi will not play in the game, in the next game. They might play in the final game, so do not expect Brian Mbeumo anytime soon. And that might be reason why Bruno is playing. Let me see what the comments are saying quickly. Bruno will be in eight positions in Premier League, which is out of position. Yeah, I agree, British Bulldog. This is what he did at Sporting. If we continue seeing what we saw yesterday, then we can say that there has been improvement. 100% Eddie in the chat. Big up yourself as well, Eddie. British Bulldog. Respect, bro, always. The one thing is, there's an improvement. I keep saying this. There has been an improvement from the Leeds game. And if the trajectory continues, we get an improvement in the next game. And then the next game, I think, and we are playing teams around us. We're playing the West Hams of this world, teams that finished around us. If we keep improving the way that we're improving, at the rate we are improving during pre-season, I think we will be fine. I think Manchester United, and we haven't seen Mbeumo yet, we still could get a striker, right? And a new goalkeeper. I think we can be optimistic. Based on what we've seen, the players are up for it. and we could potentially finish higher than mid-table. Potentially, because West Ham are not a great side, guys. And that's why I say we have to temper our understanding of what we saw. What we saw was an improvement from the previous game, but don't let the other YouTubers convince you that it was an amazing performance from anybody, because it wasn't. Bruno gave the ball away a lot. He'd made a lot of mistakes, but he scored 2 goals. And that is Bruno. That is Bruno all over. And that's how I see Bruno. Bruno's not somebody who will give you a 90-minute performance. He's not. He will go missing. He'll make the wrong choices, make mistakes, make people go, ugh. But then he'll come up with an assist or a goal, and then people say he was amazing. And I'll say, no, he didn't have a good performance. He wasn't that great, but he was there when we needed him, and he scored the 2 goals. So it depends on how your brain works. If you go to work and you do nothing all day for the 8 hours you're there, but you do 2 things right at the end, and your manager says, well done, does it mean you've worked hard today? Does it mean you played well or not played well? Does it mean you've worked well all day? No, you haven't. You've just done 2 things right at the very end that are very, very good. So Bruno is somebody that, for me, his output is good. Because of how he plays, he puts loads of crosses in, loads of flicks. Because of how he plays, he will get, and we play through him as well often, his output will be good. But his full 90-minute performance often flatters to deceive. And that is why you have this friction in the fan base where some people think he's the best thing since sliced bread, while others look deeper into the numbers, actually watch his performance and are like, hold on a second. He doesn't fit the 10 position. He doesn't fit the double pivot. Are we shoehorning this guy into the team? It's very hard to argue against Bruno if he's the one. If we win 2-1 and he's the one who scores both goals, it's difficult to argue against Bruno starting. Numbers-wise, it's difficult to argue, and that's important. But that's how I saw the game. I think we spoke about some of the tactical things we saw in the match. We spoke about how we play out from the back, the first phase build-up, where De Ligt goes. De Ligt moving into the midfield, like I keep saying. This is our first phase build-up. We spoke about the last phase, where we eventually end up, which is, we eventually end up like this. This is how most teams play. Most teams actually build with 3 at the back. Pass, rotate with 3 at the back. Arsenal do it. Arsenal, one of their fullbacks moves into midfield. So Arsenal's back 4 will be like this. And then you might have one of their back 4. Man City do this as well, moving into the middle. But this is how we play. And it's important, especially that Mainoo and Ugarte, the 2 guys in the double pivot, have a good understanding of each other's strengths and weaknesses. And like the game yesterday, Ugarte and Mainoo, they were hunting in packs. Remember, guys, they were hunting together. It wasn't Bruno and Casemiro where Bruno would just wander around to try to get the ball and pick the ball up and doing what he's doing. Ugarte and Mainoo were disciplined. They were disciplined, and that's what the manager wants. Yes, you want one of your, you need your players to join the attack, of course. But when you're defending, when you don't have the ball, and when we didn't have the ball, we were structurally very, very disciplined. And that's something that we can be happy about. I don't always think that the manager's system works that well. Always. I think he does need to tweak it game to game. It won't work for all opponents, but structurally, defensively, it is good. We weren't an attacking threat last year. And one of the reasons why we were so bad last year is because we weren't an attacking threat. And once the teams we're playing against find out or realize that we're not an attacking threat, they come at us. At Old Trafford, or whether it's Old Trafford, away or at home, it doesn't matter. Teams suss us out, realize that we are blunt going forward, absolutely blunt going forward, and therefore get more encouraged to attack us and attack us and attack us. And if you don't have anything going forward, no cohesion, no end product, you're going to lose. So one thing that's important, we need to have an edge going forward. We need to be a threat. The teams need to understand that if you lose the ball against Manchester United, we can score. And there's one thing that we clearly kept trying yesterday, guys. We kept trying to attack quickly. And one thing that the manager said in his post-match press conference that he didn't like was the fact that we did not keep the ball. We did not keep the ball very well. Once we had it, it was all about getting the ball and attacking as quickly as possible. Only after the first half, the first 15 minutes of the second half, we started playing. We started keeping possession. We started rotating the ball. So, very, very interesting game, tactically. I think West Ham did well in some parts of the game. We defensively handled West Ham for the most part. Heaven is one to watch. Dorgu is one to watch. His relationship with Cunha. Cunha came to life, like I said in my post-match reaction. My post-match reaction is out as well, guys. So please take a look at the post-match reaction video. But Cunha came to life. Second half. First half, he wasn't too impressive. Højlund was all right. Højlund didn't have a bad game at all. Some decisions he made, passing decisions, weren't that great. But other than that, he did some of the basics that I always complain that he doesn't do. And he did some of those basics. So let me know what you guys think. Comment below. If I've missed anything, let me know. If you saw something else that I didn't see in the game, let me know. It's also quite interesting that Bayern there was also prepared to go long. And some of his long passes actually found their man, actually found their target. And we need to be prepared to go short and play out from the back, the way that we do. Heaven, Euro, De Ligt moving up into that midfield next to probably Ugarte often. This is our build-up position. So we also need to be prepared to go long, because very quickly teams are going to understand this and understand what we do and then close us down, mark us. We got to be able to go long to Diallo, go straight to Dorgu, potentially go straight to our striker who holds the ball up and then brings Cunha and Bruno, our other number 10s, into play. We got to find different ways to play out from the back, not just this way, because very soon people will start to understand this and then start marking our players. We have to have different variations of our first phase build-up. Whether we want to bring Manu into the back three. I've seen the manager do this. Bring Bruno here and leave De Ligt and Ugarte there, or Casemiro. I've seen him also do that. So there's a few ways I've seen us build up from the back and do the first phase, but this is what I've seen, what we saw in the match yesterday. So let me know, guys, tactically, if you guys saw anything else. But those are the main things, the most important tactical things I believe that won us the game. Our aggression, our intensity. We did play out from the back decently on occasions. The relationship between Dorgu and Cunha is building. 2 beautiful goals from Bruno. Manu and Ugarte did well because of the proximity to each other. They hunted in packs. When one won the ball, Ugarte found Mainu. Ugarte wins the ball, gives Mainu the ball. Mainu wins the ball, gives Ugarte the ball. That worked well. We want to see more from Dalot, and we need to see more from this side of the pitch. This side of the pitch was our main side last year. So, anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts about the game. What did you see? What did you like? What didn't you like? What were the negatives about the game yesterday? What are the things that we can't repeat, that we have to fix quickly? What's encouraged you tactically about the game yesterday? Please, guys, leave your comments below. Let me know your thoughts on the Sesko situation. Let me know your thoughts on the Antony situation also. Let me know who you would start in the next game. Who would you start against Arsenal, guys? Who would you start against Arsenal? Please comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on the tactical analysis of the game yesterday. I'm not going to talk about the second half because, quite frankly, after the whole first 11 was changed around the 66-minute mark, the game fell to shit. There was nothing really to report. Cheeto was up front. Nothing really happened. There was no build-up. There was not really possession. West Ham actually got more into the game. West Ham were actually the better team after the changes we made. And to be fair, after the changes we made, to see the so-called second 11, it kind of reminded me how much work we still need to do as a football club going forward in terms of transfers. The drop-off from the first 11 is crazy. It's crazy. This is the second 11 people that we saw in the second half, in and around 67 minutes. And like I said, Mount, Cheeto, Fletcher, Diogo Leon, Casemiro, Collier, Diogo Dalot on the drop-off from that team, the first team to this team, is crazy. But the manager's come out and said we shouldn't look too much into who starts in the first team and who comes on, because it's not an indication of who's going to start against Arsenal. But it's still good to see that Mount and Shaw and the likes of Maguire, potentially Casemiro, Dalot, they're nowhere near, hopefully nowhere near the manager's thoughts with regards to Arsenal. Hopefully the likes of Luke Shaw, Mount, Dalot don't play against Arsenal. Hopefully, because we want to see an attacking formation. We want to see Ahmad. We want to see, obviously, Cunha. Cunha will play. I want to see Heaven there rather than Shaw. And a lot of you will prefer Maguire. I understand that. But I still prefer De Ligt there. I don't mind Fredrickson. I like what I've seen of Fredrickson so far. I'm encouraged with Fredrickson. Cass, we know Cass doesn't have the legs. He doesn't have the legs. So, yeah, this second team that came on after 67 minutes, there's nothing really to talk about. It's not really fair that, you know, some of these players don't get to play with the better players, so to speak. And I don't think you can really assess them or analyze their performance, you know, positively. Seeing all those changes is a bit unfair. So I'm not going to talk about the second team. But like I said, let me know your thoughts, people. Comment below. That's my tactical breakdown of what we saw yesterday. If you agree with anything, let me know. If you disagree with anything, guys, please let me know. But start some conversation. Give me some feedback. And we can go from there. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Just to wrap up and remind you guys that the Sesko situation is continuous. It is developing. We potentially will get Sesko or Watkins. We still don't know, but Sesko is interested in Manchester United, people. And the Anthony deal looks like it is moving closer. Before I go, I just want to quickly see what the chat is saying, if anything. Sorry, guys, just joined. How are you finding the mid, which was the worrying area, the midfield, which was a worrying area? Did anything work for you? I think the midfield was better. I think the relationship between Mainu and Ugarte was better. The problem is I need to see this midfield against tougher opposition now. I don't think this is the midfield that will start, but I might be wrong. It does seem as if Mbumo might not be fit for the start of the season. And if that's the case, that might be the reason why the manager, even though he said Bruno is not that great there, that might be the reason why the manager is starting Bruno there. We don't have Xerxes. I actually thought when this team was announced that Mainu was going to play as a 10 and Bruno was going to play in the double pivot. I thought it was just some sort of decoy or a ploy. But no. Mainu actually started in the double pivot and Bruno was the 10. And many of us have said Mainu is good in a 10, potentially better in a 10 than he is in double pivot. But if he can learn this position, Mainu, if he can improve, because he's still young, he's 20 years old, 19, 20. If he can continue to improve and learn this position and get that long pass game, we need someone here who can switch the play. Mainu's not doing that enough. And when Mainu plays against more dynamic midfielders, is he going to be able to keep running up the pitch like this? Is he going to keep doing that? You know? Only time will tell, people. Only time will tell. Turkish says second team was lackluster. I agree. The second team, after 67 minutes, we stopped playing football. And there was nothing really to report. Dorgu, I'm expecting better things from Dorgu. Really, like Dorgu, because he's so physical and he's quick and athletic, he's going to have fun. He's going to have fun this season down this side. So let's keep looking at that. Diallo, we're going to demand more from Diallo. He's my favourite player, Ahmad. And because he's my favourite player, I'm going to be demanding more from him. A few times he was free, and we couldn't find him. So we'll keep looking at the situation. Thank you guys, as usual, for joining. Every game, we will have a post-match debrief. After every game, we will try to look at things from a tactical perspective and have a deep dive and a deep discussion with regards to what we learned, what we think happened tactically. If we lose, why we lose. If we won, why we win. After every game, we will aim to have a tactical debrief, a tactical analysis / breakdown of the game. So we will have our watch-alongs, we will have our match reactions, and we will also, hopefully the day later, have a session like this where we talk tactics, we talk, the technical parts of the game, and we talk about what happened. We talk about what happened from a tactical standpoint, guys. So, yeah, it's been lovely. Comment below, like I said before. Provide some feedback on this show. And let's keep it moving. Let's see what Turkish is saying in the chat before we go. I start Euro, Dilit, Heaven, Ahmad, Dorgu, Mainu, Kone, Kunya, Mbumo, Xerxes. So you'd start Mainu and Kone. I like that. It's very positive. Very positive. The only thing about Kone is that I don't know if Kone is ready for the man's game. Physically, athletically, I don't know if he is there yet. Technically, he's a good footballer. I don't know if he's going to handle the intensity and the aggression that is required for the man's game. I would definitely start Xerxes over Højlund, so I'm definitely with you with that regards. I don't think Xerxes will be ready for the start of the season. I don't think we will get a striker before the Arsenal game and we want to sell Højlund. And I think I mentioned this before. Xerxes not going to be ready for Arsenal. We're not going to bring in a striker for the Arsenal game. And Højlund, he might even be going in the next few weeks. So we could be in a position where we do not have a striker for the Arsenal game. I don't think the club will put us in that position, but given those three scenarios, we could be in that position, potentially. So let's keep an eye on the striker position. Sesko said he wants to come. Can Man United somehow get the finances together for the Sesko deal? That's the question now, guys. That's the question. So big up the chat. Everyone who lasted the full session. I think we've gone on for, how long have we been live for now? About an hour, which is good. Good time. Big up the chat. Big up Turkish, British Bulldog, Eddie. Share the video. Like the video. Subscribe. Premier League. I want Højlund speed on Xerxes. Then we... Big up yourself, Premier League 200. Thank you for the comment, my brother. In an ideal world, if I could create a footballer Premier League, I would put Højlund speed onto Xerxes. I'll put Højlund speed onto Xerxes, and I will put Mason Greenwood shooting technique onto Xerxes. Xerxes just needs some speed and really, really good shooting technique, because I'm not fully convinced. Xerxes can shoot, but I think he uses the side of his foot a lot to shoot rather than his laces. So not always, impressed with Xerxes, but shooting wise anyway. But in terms of a footballer, Xerxes is my guy. He's a good footballer. He just lacks the intensity and the speed, in my opinion, that the manager wants. He wants Højlund or his striker. He wants them to be running the channels. He wants Højlund to do what he did for Atlanta. Run the channels. Go right. Go left. Run the channels. Bring Cunha into play. Run the channel. Pass it back to Cunha. That's what he wants from his strikers. And at the moment, Xerxes doesn't really offer that. Xerxes doesn't really offer that. So, I hear you. Premier League says, I'm not happy Højlund playing up front. I hear you. I hear you, bro. Like, in my idea, listen, Xerxes plays for me. For me, Xerxes plays. Xerxes plays all the time. For me. But I understand the profile of striker the manager wants. In this system, you have to be able to, yes, hold the ball up, drop into this space, which Xerxes does really well. And what I expect, if this is Xerxes here, guys, what I expect is the likes of Cunha and Mbeumo or Bruno to make more runs off him. I expect Xerxes to drop here and Cunha and Mbeumo to try and make runs off Xerxes. Let's pretend this is Xerxes and not Højlund. And therefore Xerxes is, either passing to Cunha and, Mbeumo. But Højlund isn't that kind of player. And I think the manager wants his striker to be more the goal scorer. So he wants his striker to stretch the teams, to stretch the play, run the channels, bring his number 10s into play as well. And Højlund probably does that better than Xerxes. So, yeah, Højlund's pressing. Højlund was good at pressing. Højlund was an animal. Like I said before, one thing that we did well, we played intensely. Our intensity was the best part of the game. We are, in terms of our aggression and our intensity, we are ready for the Premier League. We just need to sort out the cohesion. The players need to understand each other better. Bruno, when Højlund was pressing, we pressed as a team. Bruno, Dalot, Cunha, we pressed like this on the right-hand side. And when West Ham moved it to the left-hand side, the same thing. We pressed as a unit, closing it down. Ugarte, closing it down. Heaven, squeeze. Delit, squeeze. Squeeze. That was impressive. One thing I kept saying is that we don't press in unison. We don't understand pressing triggers. We don't press as a team. Bruno will just be pressing by himself, running around by himself. In this game against West Ham, there were clear pressing triggers, and we pressed as a team, and we pressed with intensity. And not only did we press it with intensity, we didn't just, you can't press by just running straight. You have to run at an angle, right, to force the player to make a pass. And I even saw that we were baiting West Ham. We were pressing at certain angles, forcing West Ham to make certain passes, and then winning the ball back quite high. And a lot of goals, as we know, a lot of goals are scored now, not just by beautiful football. A lot of goals are scored by winning the ball high, pressing. And if we can get, 10% of our goals that way, without having to play football, just win the ball back, press high, score. If we can get a small amount of our goals that way, then good. Then that's good, Premier League, where do you think we finish this season? Good question, bro. I think we can finish in the top 6. Based on the players we currently have right now, I'm not going to get carried away like everyone else is. I think based on just the current players, we will finish in the top 8. I think we could finish in the top 8. If we get the striker in, if we get another midfielder in and the goalkeeper, I think we can finish in the top 6. I really do. I'm going to put that demand on the manager. I think with Bryan Mbeumo and Cunha, if we get Ollie Watkins as well, 3 out of the top 5 footballers, attacking footballers in the Premier League last season, now playing for Manchester United, with another midfielder and a goalkeeper, I can't see why we can't finish in the top 6 and get into Europe. Why not? The only reason is the manager. I am not one of the YouTubers that has that much faith in Amrim. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I hope that we give him the players, and I hope we do see his system work better. I want to see an improvement based on what I've seen so far, based purely on objective analysis. He might not last until December, Amrim, if he doesn't start well. Our start against Arsenal, against these, we don't have an easy start. We don't have an easy start, so he has to do well. He has to start well, this manager. He is under pressure. He is. That reminds me, same question to you, Premier League. Where do you think we finish this season? Where do you think we finish this season, people? Too optimistic. I hope we do. I predict just above top 10. Okay, fair enough. You're not as optimistic as I am. My optimism, I think, comes from more the players rather than the manager. I think, give him the right players, we should be better than the rest. Surely we can be better than the rest. I'm not saying we should be as good as Newcastle, Liverpool, Chelsea, the top 4, the top 5. No, but surely better than the rest. I want to be better than Brighton, better than Brentford, better than West Ham, better than Aston Villa. I think we can. I really think we can. Anyway, people, it's been lovely, a lovely show. Not my usual show, not my usual type of show, but I think I will keep doing this every so often, providing you guys with a bit of analysis, a bit of a post-match debrief, so we can see where we are, what went wrong, what went right. Have a look at some of the plays. I might get some screenshots of the actual match as well to talk about. We're gonna have different types of shows, analytical shows, fun shows, you know, more laid back shows as well. So we'll try different things on this channel, people. It's a new channel. It's growing. We're still finding our feet here, so hopefully you guys will return. Yeah, yeah. My assessment Premier League is based on the fact that we get a midfielder in, we get, other players in, our striker in. If we get all our deals, all our signings over the line, then I think we can finish in the top 8. I really do. Anyway, guys, it's been lovely. Really, really lovely. Like I said, Sesko updates. Sesko has informed Leipzig that he wants to go to Old Trafford. That is a fact. And Anthony potentially will be making a move to Saudi. Let's keep an eye on that. It's been a pleasure. Please, guys, comment below, share your thoughts, and enjoy the rest of your day. Premier League, thank you for joining the chat, bro. Hopefully, I can see you another time. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot, Premier League. We're trying out here, man. We're trying to do things, trying to share my thoughts and my opinions, bro. But yeah, please, man, we'll be back here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Our usual transfer daily show. So yeah, have a good Sunday, people. Have a blessed Sunday. Look after yourself, and I will see you soon. Take care.